The 2DC is my very first Dreamcast portable I've ever built. Inside is a real Sega Dreamcast motherboard and it loads games using a G-demo. The 2DC was inspired by the 2DS since both consoles use dual screens. The Dreamcast motherboard can be trimmed just small enough to fit inside the original 2DS dimensions, so it seemed like a perfect match. The 2DC was modeled in SolidWorks. I had trouble with aligning all the parts to fit together, so the top and bottom ended up being modeled in the same file and then separated later for printing. The side pieces are printed individually and screwed together so that way I can do a two-tone color case. The 2DS buttons are all custom modeled, then printed on the Form 2, and finally silicone molded so I could resin cast them in whichever colors I desired. I used a Wii PMS PCB to power the Dreamcast simply by changing two resistors to modify the voltages for 2 volts and 2.5 volts that the Dreamcast needs. The PMS also programs the USB-C add-on board to allow for USB-C power delivery charging up to 12 volts. Due to the location of the chips on the Dreamcast, it was difficult for me to find a good battery and heatsink placement. The trimmed Dreamcast motherboard essentially goes up to the limits of the case size. I finalized on a 5A lithium polymer battery, which it powered for at least 2 hours. The shoulder buttons feel fantastic. I used a hinge design which can be actuated from just about the entire surface of the buttons. The 2DC features a custom Dreamcast controller emulator. The Maple Bus, which is the proprietary protocol I use to communicate between the console and the controller, is bit-banked in C on the PIC32MZ microcontroller. The protocol transmits and receives at 1 megabits per second, so I needed a fast microcontroller to keep up. After implementing the protocol, I used online documentation about the controller commands so the code can communicate with the console. I had plans to emulate the VMU by incorporating an OLED SPI screen and an FRAM chip for memory, but unfortunately I did not have enough time to get this part functioning, though the hardware is all there for it in the future. The controller PCB has a digital to analog converter, so the screen driver OSD can be controlled. By holding start and pressing D-pad left, it enables the OSD menu, then pressing D-pad up or down can change the level. This is useful for adjusting the RGB colors or the brightness and contrast. A digital I2S audio amplifier is used for the best Dreamcast audio quality. The I2S amplifier is controlled over I2C, also by the PIC32. It was refreshing to work on a new console for once, especially one that isn't very popular to be portabilized. I learned some new skills in this project, like designing a complex multi-part case, exercising my C coding, and learning how to portabilize a new console. I hope you enjoyed watching.